Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and we've got the Kill Team Balance Dataslate Q2 2022. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, and some Horus Heresy content as well. Daily videos, reactions, reviews, news, painting, modeling, conversion tutorials. If you're into the Warhammer universe, this is a channel for you, so subscribe. It's absolutely free and really helps out. So the new Kill Team Balance Dataslate is here. So Kill Team Balance Dataslate Q2 2022. The designers behind Kill Team keep a close eye on how the special operatives of the 41st millennia are getting on, ensuring that the game stays balanced and fun for all players. With this in mind, they've been working hard on the latest Balance Dataslate. So we'll check that out in just a second. Obviously, we don't see the new teams on this as there's just not enough data yet from the Morocco Kill Team. Wondering why these changes have been made? Here are the Kill Team developers to explain them. Kill Team Studio. Every month we collect tournament data from around the world. We then evaluate this data and use it to inform future balanced data slates to ensure any changes we make are accurate and appropriate for what's happening on the ground. There are different ways we do this, but the primary statistic we look at is average win rates. In an ideal world, the game would be perfectly balanced and every faction had a 50% win rate. But in practice, this is very difficult to achieve. Therefore, we aim for every faction's win rate to sit between 45 and 55%. So here we see Corsair Void Guards at 59. That's actually kind of surprising. Void Dancer Troop at 56. Makes sense. Pathfinders also at 56. Makes sense. Novitiates, Wormblade, and Legionaries at 55. That is actually surprising. Novitiates and Wormblade, not surprising at all. But Legionaries at 55, that is definitely surprising. Interesting. Veteran Guard at 54, again, that is sort of surprising. I guess more people probably play Veteran Guard, but they are one of, if not the best kill team. So to see them this far down on the list is definitely surprising. But maybe just more people who are not good are playing them, so it kind of throws it off. Next we have Commandos at 47, Hunter Clad at 47, Warp Coven at 45, and Compendium at 45. So they have grouped everybody from the Compendium that doesn't have a new like bespoke team is one. But really not that bad. I mean, from 45 to 59 from lowest to highest is not that big of a gap. So I would say they're doing pretty good overall balance wise. From Maze data, we can see only the Corsair Void Guard, Void Dancer troops, and Pathfinders fall outside of our ideal range. And just a 2% win rate separates 6 of the top 7 factions. A healthy mix. This is further evidenced by the varied spread of podiums and top 10s we saw at tournaments. Overall, we feel this bodes well for the current state of the game, with plenty of factions fighting it out and allowing players skill to make the difference. I got to agree with that. Overall, it is pretty well balanced. I mean, I think Kill Team is pretty well balanced overall, but based on those statistics, it's even more balanced than I thought. Corsair Void Guard were our top performing faction in May. But along with the Hunter Clad, they are being picked less over other factions. In the case of Corsairs, this could be due to their new models, a hobby delay caused whilst people collect and paint them. In the case of Hunter Clad, however, we feel that they lack some tools to perform as well as others. This was particularly evident in April, where their win rate was as low as 28%. Therefore, we're getting them some much needed improvements in the balance status slate to bring them up a notch. So again, that is sort of surprising about the Corsair Void Guard. If there is not a lot of people playing them though, and there's just a couple of people that are really good with them, one, people aren't as used to facing them, so they're not used to like their cheeky little tricks. And two, you could have a couple really good players playing them, and they're kind of like skewing the data. So either one of those makes sense. I think it's probably less to do with painting issues, just because people don't always like paint their stuff amazing. So you can slap together a paint job on a kill team in literally a day if you want to. Maybe it's not going to be amazing, but you can get it done in a day. So I don't really buy that. With a hefty 68% win rate, Void Dancer troops showed you could clown around in April long after April Fools. We didn't want to rush out a patch too soon though. Often new teams land strong as opponents don't know their tricks. But over time, things can settle. Fortunately, that may have happened with the Void Dancers. Their win rate fell to 56% in May. So from 68 to 56, obviously they were very strong. People were like calling for a nerf, and now we see they're right in line with everyone else. So I'm glad they didn't over nerf them. 1% above our ideal parameters. They can still be a difficult team to play against though, particularly for newer players, so we've developed some focused tweaks to help. We will continue to monitor them and see if future data supports our theory. Similarly, we'll monitor the Corsair, Voids Guard, and Legionaries, our two newest teams, as we gather more data. Finally, it's fair to say grenades have become very prevalent across the kill zones. The indirect special rule is incredibly useful, and while we are happy with how grenades work thematically and mechanically, their efficiency and prevalence is noticeable. Yeah, I totally agree with that. We've therefore used the same changes we made to the Commandos Dynamite in the previous Balance Dataslate, maximum of 1, applying it to each offensive grenade in the game. We feel this change will have a significant impact on Pathfinders, Novitiates, Wormblade, Veteran Guardsmen in particular, trimming their potential slightly. Alright, so previously we saw you could take 3 crack grenades, and pretty much everybody just took 3 crack grenades. So I like this change because now people are actually going to use different equipment because you have to, because you can't just take 3 crack grenades. So I really like that. I think it's great. We'll see how it flushes out. Now, as far as the one dynamite thing made perfect sense, is counting like a Pathfinder or a Grenadier as your only grenade option, and now you can't take more. That may be just a little much, so we'll have to see. But grenades were obviously too good. Overall, we feel the Kill Team meta was pretty healthy in May. With a good variety of teams doing well, going forward we'll keep our finger on the pulse and monitor things closely in Q3. So yeah, I agree. I'm actually surprised at how balanced this data is. That is pretty impressive. So congratulations, GW. Keep it up. So let's take a look at the Kill Team Balance Dataslate Q2 2022. This document contains the collected Q2 updates to the rules for game balancing improvements. So core rules. New core rule. Some rules allow you to activate operatives in succession before your opponent can activate. Regardless of such rules, you can never activate more than 2 operatives in the same turning point before your opponent has had a turn to activate a ready operative or perform Overwatch. So that makes sense. That was already kind of the newer rule. It makes sense. You can chain activate 2 guys, but never more. And I agree with that. You should never be able to move or shoot or activate 3 guys in a row before your opponent gets to do anything. At that point in time, you might as well just play like 40k. Equipment. You can only select each equipment with the indirect special rule, e.g. Dynamite, Crack Grenade, Fusion Grenade, once per battle. If a friendly operative already equipped with such equivalent equipment is selected for deployment, e.g. Assault, Grenadier, Pathfinder, this counts as your selection. So, again, we'll have to see how this flushes out. So now you went from being able to take the Grenadier and 3 grenades to now just having the Grenadier. So that's a pretty serious change. Now, we'll see how it plays out. I think going from being able to have 4 grenades to being able to have 1 grenade is probably a little overboard. But again, I do like to see the idea of more diversity as far as equipment, because everybody just took 3 crack grenades all the time. Hunter Clad. So Doctrina imperatives can be selected each turning point instead of only twice per battle. So that's pretty cool. Before you could only pick 2 per battle. Now you get 1 every turning point. Ignore each imperative's depreciation effect during the first turning point that is active for your kill team during the battle. Okay, so before you used to get a bonus, but then you also used to have a negative effect. So that's pretty cool. They got rid of the negative effect the first time you activate it. Operative selection. Can take 1 additional operative. Can include up to 3 gunner operatives. Each must still be equipped with different ranged weapons, regardless of Sicarian operatives. So now you can have 3 gunners instead of 2. That is big because one of your regular guys is now going to have a awesome gun instead. So very cool. And then obviously they got the additional operative as well. So very nice. So basically you just get your old kill team plus a free gunner now, because you get an extra operative and an extra gunner. But the gunner is just an option for one of your operatives, not a bonus operative and a bonus gunner. You just make your new operative a gunner. So very cool. I think that will help balance them out, give them a little boost. They have some strong special weapons. So Pathfinder, a worthy cause tactical ploy, 2 command points. So that was already upgraded to 2 command points. And it can only be used once per battle, which already as well. And it can only be used if you don't have the initiative. So we already saw that, and I think it was a good change. Obviously the changes they made to Pathfinders, they're still really good. Assault Grenadier Pathfinder Operative. Delete the final sentence of the Grenadier ability. Okay, so am I going to have to actually look and see what the grenadier ability is. I want to say that's the one where he gets 2 of each grenade, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not going to check it right this second. Benefit of 5+ marker-like tokens. In the select valid target step of the shooting attack, the enemy operative is treated as if it has an engage order unless it's in cover provided by heavy terrain. So previously, if you had 5 marker lights on a single guy, in the select valid target step of the shooting attack, enemy operative is treated as having an engage order. Now, it's only treated as having an engage order if it's not in cover provided by heavy terrain. So again, great changes. I really like all the changes to Pathfinders. They're still very good. Now, they did get nerfed again, basically now, because now they get 3 less grenades. So, we'll see. I still don't think it's going to be a game breaker for them. They're still very good. Void Dancer, I think honestly the biggest thing for Pathfinders is the terrain setup you're playing on is make or break for them. Void Dancer Troop, Segras Just Strategic Ploy. Change the relevant part of the first sentence to read, once in the resolve successful hit step of the combat, when your opponent strikes with a normal hit. Okay, alright. I guess, am I going to have to actually look up what these do? Alright, give me a second. I was not prepared. Alright, so Segras Just Strategic Ploy. So, until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Void Dancer troop operative fights in combat, once in the resolve successful hit step of the combat, when your opponent strikes with a hit, you can roll 1d6. Okay, so it's with a normal hit versus a successful hit. So you can't do it on a crit anymore. If the result is equal to or less than the weapon skill characteristic of the enemy operative selected melee weapon, treat the strike as a parry instead. Okay, so before you could use this and parry a crit, now you can only use it to parry a normal hit. So I think that probably makes sense. Citadel ability. Delete the 3rd bullet point from the effects of adding the 4th mark to your performance tally. So let's go to that. So Citadel ability. Delete the 3rd bullet point from the effects. Okay, so when you add the 4th mark to your performance tally, you get all friendly Void Dancer troop operatives have the accolade ability of the active allegory until the end of the battle. You gain 1 command point, and then the 3rd one is going away. It says delete the 3rd one. So in the generate command point step of each turning point, you generate 1 additional command point. Oh, wow. That's a big change. So before, once you completed this, you got 2 command points per turn. They got rid of the 2nd command point. So that is a big change. Wow. Again, I'm not sure that's a bad change, though. I think it's probably good. It probably balances out. Because honestly, like, you would end up with like command points like left at the end of the game. So you were basically just like trying to use them up as quick as you could. Space Marines and Grey Knights. Operative selection. Every fire team except Scout and Tactical Marine can take 1 additional Warrior operative. So that's how it is already. So you went from 5 to 6 operatives. Death Guard. Operative selection. Plague Marine fire team can take 1 additional Warrior operative. Champion operative is instead of 1 Warrior operative, not in addition to. So before, the way it was worded, you took 2 Plague Marines, and then you got 2 more Plague Marines, and then you got 1 champion. Now they're just changing the wording, because now you get 6 Plague Marines total, including the champion. So now you get 3 Plague Marines, and then you get 3 Plague Marines, and then one of those Plague Marines gets upgraded to a champion. So the difference is you went from 5 to 6 Marines, which is how it already was. Next we have Craft World. Operative selection. Every fire team can take 1 additional warrior. So again, that's been in effect, and we still don't see Craft World doing particularly well. Tomb World. Flayed 1 operatives add 1 to both damage characteristics of Flare Claws. So 1 for regular and 1 for crit. Reanimation Protocol, Tactical Play costs 0 command points. Again, we saw these changes before, and Necrons aren't exactly killing it. I mean, they're doing fine, but let's be real. I mean, it was perfect. Made them better, but didn't make them amazing. Replaced army lists. Over time, certain new army lists will be introduced, similar army lists from the Compendium. We recommend the newer army list replaces the older one where balance is concerned, particularly in an organized play setting such as a tournament. These army lists and their replacements are as follows. So again, they're saying they recommend it. So it's still up to like the TO or, you know, your group. if you force people to take this or if they still have the option. So Forge World replaces Hunter Clad. Obviously that's what they're going for. Thousand Suns is Forge World replaced by Hunter Clad. Thousand Suns replaced by Warp Coven. And then Troop replaced by Void Dancers. In all three cases, I honestly think that the bespoke teams are better anyway. So I don't see why anybody would be taking them. And then also, now that there's like upgrades to the Hunter Clad and not to the Forge World, there's literally no reason to take Forge World. So you're not going to take the worst versions of any of these teams, in my opinion. So it makes sense. And honestly, all these teams are good too. So overall, pretty short, pretty sweet. Loving the balance. They're doing a great job. I really like it. So you let me know which teams is something just too extreme. Do you really need some help? Overall, we see the actual data from GW, the May win percentage, and this is phenomenal. I mean, anytime you have a game with so many different rules and so many different factions balanced this closely together, I would say you're killing it. And the fact that, it's kind of crazy that the Compendium teams are equal to Warp Coven, because Warp Coven is not bad. I mean, they're not amazing, but they're not bad. Hunter Clad should definitely see a step up now with an extra, model and gunner. Surprised to see Kommandos that low. I think part of why Kommandos are that low is a lot of the better players in Kommandos just moved on to some of the newer teams. I don't think they're necessarily bad or anything. Vet Guard obviously was like crushing, and now with these grenade changes, they're probably going to be like still towards the top, but like mid-top. Still very surprised about Legionaries. Wormblade are very good, but a little squishy. Novitiates are extremely good as well, but difficult to play. Pathfinders are good, but extremely affected by terrain. So all of those kind of have a built-in drawback, whether it's experience, whether it is like just crazy squishy, or whether it's terrain. They all have something that can severely affect their performance. And then Void Dancers, very good. Losing the extra command point, I think, is huge and should bring them perfectly in line. And then Corsair Void Guard, again, they're good. When I first saw them, I was like, this is a good team. But they're not amazing. To tell you the truth, if anything, I would have thought that they would get, instead of just a special or heavy weapon, that they would get a special and heavy weapon. But if they're top team at 59%, they obviously don't need any help. So that is very surprising. We'll see, though. They said that not many people are playing them. So maybe we get the June data and it says something a little different. I'm also curious to see how the Trader Guard and the Bespoke Marines, like the Phobos team, are doing. Because honestly, the Phobos team is pretty good. I know people want to hate on them, but they're pretty good. And the Trader Guard, they're really good as well. Are they better than the regular Vet Guard? They're just different. The regular Vet Guard is a little more shooty with some combat aspects. The Trader Guard is a little less shooty with way more combat aspects. But overall, I really like it. This is great. I mean, if you trust these numbers, which I do, they're doing a phenomenal job balancing the game. Keep it up. I love all the kill teams. Obviously a couple of them are not that fun or not that amazing. Eventually, I think once all the Compendium teams have their own bespoke teams and we don't need the Compendium anymore, we'll be in a really, really nice place. Right now, if you're specifically into like one of these factions, like for instance Drukari or Dark Eldar, sure, they're lumped in with the overall Compendium, but they're not bad. They're not amazing. But if they do get a bespoke team, it's probably going to be really good because it's just going to be a better version of their regular team. So let me know what you think down below. Always like to hear back from you guys. Very excited for these updates and putting them into effect. Loving the new edition of Kill Team. It's absolutely phenomenal. The new Kill Team box is awesome as well. The Trader Guard and Phobos bespoke team is sweet. I love the new terrain, and I love that they bundled it in the Kill Team, as I luckily guessed a few months back, because the terrain is pretty awesome. Definitely the setups could have a little bit more like scatter terrain in them, but overall really like the new Marok as well. So but that is it for today. Let me know what you think down below. Make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, and some Horus Heresy content. At least one video every single day. Reactions, reviews, news, painting, modeling, conversion tutorials. If you haven't checked out some of our awesome tutorials and videos, please make sure to check those out. Have a brand new video coming out over the weekend of our completed recently Adeptus Custodes Expansion Commission. They look absolutely phenomenal. A bunch of awesome dudes looking really good, and keep your eye out for that. Obviously, always put all kinds of, like, you know, the paint method, the steps, how to make custom bases, conversions, magnetizations, all the cool stuff. Just all about making the community a better place. So make sure to like and subscribe. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.